Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Marta Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus house system. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the eclipse that we're going to be having on August 12th, which is a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Leo. And it is at the 20th degree, which is the degree of Scorpio. Now, you guys know that eclipses are fated events, and a new moon solar eclipse means new beginnings. But this eclipse is conjunct with the South Node, which is to lose, release something or someone. And I'm going to bring up a chart for the eclipse so that you guys can see. There we go. That's what the solar eclipse is going to look like, right? It has new moon, meaning that the moon and the sun are conjunct. Wait, let me get this out of the way. There we go. So new moon means the sun and the moon are conjunct. All right, so we have Pluto opposing Jupiter, and we have Mercury in conjunction with Jupiter. We have Neptune trining this new moon. We have Saturn trining this new moon or the eclipse, right? We have Uranus in trine to Pluto. We have, let me see, Saturn. What is Saturn doing? Saturn is in opposition to Venus, and that's about it. And then we have Neptune sextiling Uranus. We have Mars square Neptune. We have Mars square Venus. So what this means is that all of these planets are talking to each other, right? So we have a lot to cover. Now, um, with people that have a strong Leo chart, Leo stands for presidents, prime ministers, actors, performers. And what a strong chart in Leo means, you have a Leo sun, you have a Leo ascendant, you have a stellium of planets in Leo. A stellium of planet means that you have a lot of planets in the sign of Leo. Okay. So, well, three or more planets. And most, it depends on the book that you pick up. It's either three or four planets in Leo represent a stellium. And it has to involve outer planets, right? It cannot just be Mercury and Venus, all right? Because they're always pretty close to the sun anyway, especially Mercury. Venus tends to go further out, but not that far away. So this eclipse will affect President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, the country of Iran, because Iran has their rising sign is 29 degrees of Leo, which is conjunct the fixed star Regulus, just like President Trump. The country of Israel, because their sun is at 23 degrees of Leo, of Taurus, excuse me. So the eclipse is going to square their sun. This eclipse may bring, and obviously things are not going to happen right on August 12th because the eclipse, for every minute that the eclipse is happening is a year. The effects are a year, right? So if the eclipse lasts for 2 minutes, then it's 2 years for this to take shape, all right, or take effect. And this is the beginning of something, and it depends on your natal chart. So this eclipse may cause regime change because remember, Leo is the sign of kings, royalty as well. So Cuba can be in the spotlight, as well as King Charles from England, right? Um, Remember that the South Node is to lose something, so some people can pass away or their leadership can change, in the country. Um, the sun represents obviously men, and in mundane astrology, it represents the leader of the country. The eclipse will be in trine with Saturn in Aries, so our freedom, our energy can be limited because of Saturn. Remember that Saturn restricts, okay? So you may not feel the best around this time, and if you are a Leo rising, be careful with falls because it's going to happen in your first house, right? So don't rush. Mercury and Jupiter are nearby, so there can be news, information that can be surprising or shocking because it's in sextile to Uranus, right? Uranus is sextiling Mercury, so we can receive news that shocks us, that surprises us, that we're like, what? What happened, right? So Pluto will also be opposing Mercury. So this can have a very profound change in the news that you get, right? Venus is in trine to Uranus. So sudden, unexpected things can happen with money and love because Venus represents money and love. Pluto is in sextile to Neptune, and then Neptune is in sextile to Uranus. So they're forming this little mini triangle, and it all points to Neptune. And Neptune, of course, rules oil as one of the things. So maybe with this Neptune trining Mercury, we do reach some kind of negotiation with the Strait of Hormuz. Like I said, with Uranus in the picture, some unexpected, shocking things can happen with oil or the ocean, because Neptune also rules the oceans. And remember that Saturn and Neptune are within orb, meaning that they're less than 10 degrees. So this conjunction that happened in February is still much in play. Now, as far as the economics, and this is not financial advice, this is the disclaimer. If you have investments in the stock market, I would be careful. I've mentioned several times that I follow Gareth Soloway for his financial advice on the market. So the man has nailed it pretty much all the time. Also, Jupiter in Leo, sometimes, because it doesn't happen every time, it suggests that the price of gold will increase. However, because of the eclipse being in Leo, and the South Node is in Leo, the price of gold may fluctuate, and I expect it to go down because of the eclipse. Because again, South Nodes means to lose something. The price of oil, I think, will fluctuate a lot because Saturn, these little R's means that it's retrograding, but Saturn is going to retrograde faster than Neptune. So I would anticipate that while these two are in orb, within 10 degrees, that the price of oil will remain high, but it will be fluctuating up and down. So on a personal note, the last times that we had the eclipses in Aquarius and Leo, the Aquarius and Leo cycle, think back, if you're old enough, to the period of 2007 through 2009, so 18 and a half years ago, or 1989 to 1990, and what themes came up in your life during those years. Did you move? Did you get a new job? Did you leave a job? Did you have a baby? Did you buy a property? Chances are that those themes are going to come back up again. I mean, they won't repeat exactly, like let's say that you got a divorce back in 1990. That doesn't mean that you're going to get another divorce, right? Or if you got married in 1990, and then you subsequently got divorced, then maybe now you can meet somebody, right? So it depends on what happened. If you had a baby, well, unless you were very young, maybe you can get pregnant again. But if that's not your situation now, then maybe that child that you had during those eclipses moves to college or has something like a life-changing event in their lives, right? They get this big promotion or something happens with that baby that you had, you know? So, all right, let me stop sharing so that I can talk to you about the 12 ascendants. So, you know what? Hold on a second. Let me get my... So, for Aries rising. For Aries rising, this is what the South Node looks like. And it doesn't appear on astro.com. You have the North Node in Aquarius, but it's an upside down horseshoe. So for Aries rising, um, especially for the Aries that are single, this eclipse happens in your fifth house. So you have the energy of a fated past life destined romantic love as option one. If you are married or in a relationship already, then perhaps it can be that you're going to have your firstborn child, right? And this child will have a past life connection with you. So this can bring you back to life. But the fifth house talks about, creative pursuits. Y- Um, so this eclipse can bring you back to life because you will have a purpose. You're going to create something, whether it's to write a book, whether it's to turn a hobby into a business, right? You can discover a past life talent that you didn't know you possessed. Maybe, I don't know, fifth house, something with planning vacations or something that you have fun at, okay? That you can, it can inspire you. It can bring inspiration for you. So this should be a very nice eclipse for you, Aries, because whoever you meet, if you're single, you'll have a feeling that you already know this person. Like there's a connection that you can't explain, right? And if you are married, well, then romance can come back into your life, right? And you and your husband or your partner can make a new go at being a little bit more romantic, going on date nights, that type of thing. Now, South Node can bring, I hope to God it doesn't bring back an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend, but that's possible too. Jupiter is hanging around with this. There, it's conjunct this new moon, so I would think it's a new person, and this new person can be a foreigner. This new person can be somebody that's well off, Jupiter. Um, can also be a very spiritual person as well. So hopefully, if you're looking for, uh, a new boyfriend or a new relationship, that this could lead to something that will be nice for you. Now, Taurus. For Taurus, this eclipse happens in your fourth house. So property or money from um can come up from a father. Leo is the sun. So maybe your father or a father figure, because it's not just the sperm donor is the man who raised you, who has been there by your side. So there may be an inheritance because it's a south node to lose a parent, right? Um, or maybe this father figure made a college fund or a trust fund and set it up now so that since you've aged, right, you can receive the money. So what are you going to leave behind? Because it's the south node. Maybe your family came from a wealthy background and for whatever reason now it's different. So something from your childhood when you were living with your parents gets left behind. Maybe you're going to sell your family home because you received it as an inheritance, right? It's not just the money. Maybe you received the property and you're gonna sell it. Or maybe it's a piece of jewelry that's a family heirloom. Um, and you decide that, you need the money, so you're gonna let it go. So this, the fourth house for Taurus, this is the fourth house. Fourth house and 10th house are the parental axis. So if your mother, because this is typically the mother, this is typically the father, but since it's Leo, it could also be the father. If your mother is not well health-wise, and Jupiter is also here, um, a mother or a mother figure, again, is not just the one that gave you life, it's also the one that raised you. Um, if they're not doing well health-wise, it could be the passing of this person. So I just want you to, eclipses, take things out of, especially with the south node, um, they take things out of your life. So Gemini. For Gemini, the eclipse happens in your third house. Writing, short courses, siblings, teachings, website, um, ideas. So what are you going to leave behind? Maybe you have some old ideas that you've been pondering that they didn't get anywhere. So hopefully, it's just the ideas, not the extended family or sibling that you could cut ties with a sibling, you could cut ties with your cousins, with your aunts, your uncles, with a neighbor. Maybe it could be that you take down an old website that you had, right? You close it down and you decide that you're going to be more spiritual because Jupiter is in Leo in the third house in your thoughts, right? Like the way you think is not going to be so logical, it'll be more spiritual. Perhaps you were raised in a religious school when you were young and you start thinking about those teachings. The third house is usually like elementary, right? Siblings can come back to you. South Node, right? Um, if you've had a fallout with one of your siblings since Jupiter is there, maybe your sibling decides to kind of like try to mend the relationship with you, or a cousin, or an extended family member. Now, Cancer. Cancer, the eclipse happens in your second house. Second house is the money that you make from the job that you do, right? So you need to release the ideas, the notion of an old job that you used to have, and concentrate on your new position or getting a new position. Do something that you can put your mind and soul into it because Jupiter is there and Jupiter is a spiritual planet. It can also be an inheritance coming in that you need to release chasing the money. You just need to wait and be patient. Are you doing your job just to pay the bills? Second house is what we value, eh, what we eat. So you can be releasing some foods that you eat that are not good for you and turning, to a healthier diet. Like maybe you're going to release sugar or alcohol or anything that you put in your mouth that is not good for your health. Your values. What are you going to be changing? What are you going to be leaving behind? Because not everything that's expensive is good. Okay. So what do you value that, maybe now is not as important, right? You were chasing money, but then you realize, well, family time is important, or time with your friends, or, whatever the case, you're going to be reassessing your values and leave some of them behind. All right, Leo. For Leo, this eclipse happens in your first house. So first things first, be careful with falls. Do not be in a hurry. Do not be rushing, okay? Having said this, get ready for makeover in your appearance, in your attitude towards life, your looks, the way you dress, your personality will transform. What are you going to leave behind? Think back to 1990 and those themes that may have played out in a similar way. Is this going, this or something, how do you call it? The same thing will not repeat, but there will be a lot of things that happened back in 1990 or 2007 through 2009, right? 1989 through 1990 and 2007 through 2009 that can happen over the next 18 months. Health is important and should be, on your radar, okay? Um, if you are of childbearing age, pregnancy can happen. So for those of you that are looking to have a baby, this is a great time to practice, okay? And I'm sure that your partner is going to be very happy. Okay, so if you're married, Leo, Pluto is in your seventh house. So there can be a transformation in your marriage, in your business partnership, and this can be a release. So some of you might be getting divorced, some of you might be changing business partners, or just maybe ending the relationship. Okay. Um, so it's for the better because Jupiter is in your sign. Virgo, and also for Leo, these changes are fated. So there's nothing that you did wrong. It's nothing that, it's just that it's meant to be. Because again, eclipses bring fated events. Now, Virgo, this eclipse happens in your 12th house. So 12th house is a very spiritual place. Pay attention to your dreams because the 12th house rules dreams. Maybe you can start a meditation practice. Maybe you want some time to be alone, maybe you want some solitude. There can be a major turning point for you because maybe you are super critical about yourself and you're your own worst enemy. So traits like that, you need to leave behind. The South Node will take care of it, right? Um, being in your 12th house, you can leave behind addictions. Get yourself a good therapist. They can help you with this transition, okay? So Libra. For Libra, this eclipse happens in your 11th house. So there's a new chance to have new goals, new dreams, new friends, fated friends. Jupiter can bring in wealthy friends coming in, to your life. Um, the 11th house is Jupiter's happy place. It's where Jupiter has joy. So that's very good. If you have a business, right? So using the derivative house system, if we make the 10th house your first house of business, then chances are you can be making some serious money, right? And now, what are you going to leave behind? Friendships that are really not your friends, that they just use you, right? It's only what they can get from you, but when you need something, well, they're just not, they're MIA, right? They're missing. Dreams and goals that didn't work out also need to be left behind. Okay, so for Scorpio, this eclipse is happening in your 10th house, right? So it can bring you a new job, a promotion, getting married, having a baby, because 10th house, besides it being the career, right? It's also the status that you have in society. Your reputation can get a big lift. Jupiter is also there, right? Um, increased success in your career. So what are you going to leave behind? A previous job or career path? It's also the parental axis, right? The fourth and the 10th house are the parental axis. So for Scorpio, the 10th house is the south node is in your 10th house. So if you have a father or a father figure that is really sick, this can mean that this person will pass in the next 18 months or so. Okay. Again, it's 20 degrees, so you have to see how close, um, you know, you are to those 20 degrees. Now, for Sagittarius, you have the eclipse happening in your ninth house. So this house is all about religion, about spiritual beliefs, foreign travel, university studies, legal cases. Maybe you might get the urge that you want to go travel abroad to a place where you've always wanted to go. Now, I wouldn't recommend Europe or the Middle East right now for obvious reasons, okay? It's not safe, especially if you're an American, all right? So, ninth house, maybe you can be evaluating your philosophy in life, your religious beliefs, your religion. Perhaps you want to publish a book or one of those technical papers, like if you're a PhD student or something like that, your thesis, right? So what are you going to leave behind? Maybe the religion you were brought up on, maybe some spiritual beliefs that now you find out are true, right? That you were very like I don't want to say dogmatic, but you were raised a certain way to believe in X, and now you find out that wait, hold on, there's more to this, right? Um, the ninth house is one of the nicer houses for an eclipse to happen. So the only thing is that hopefully you don't drop out of the university, right? You can maybe take a semester off if you're undecided, because whatever happens is in an eclipse, it's final. There's no going back. Capricorn. For Capricorn, the eclipse happens in your eighth house. Eighth house is other people's money, inheritances, money that comes in lump sums like bonuses, commissions, insurance payouts. It's also if you are married or in partnership with somebody, it's your partner's money. If you're single, then it's your investments. Jupiter is here, so this is good for money, and this is where your focus is going to be for the next at least, I would say 18 months, but definitely for a year, because Jupiter's here for a year. So, what gets left behind? Bad spending habits, loss of money from the stock market, because the eighth house rules the stock market. So, with this eclipse, if you are invested in the stock market, you need to be careful because, things can go south, literally. All right, so Aquarius. Aquarius, the south node is in your seventh house. And this is a big one. So if you are single with Jupiter here, this and the South Node is also here, you can meet someone that is fated in love or business. This can be someone from a past life, someone who is really familiar to you, even though you've never met, well, in this lifetime, of course. I want you to pay attention who comes into your life over the next couple of months, but definitely over the next 18 months. With Jupiter there, it can be a foreigner, a wealthy person, a teacher as well. So be hopeful. Have a positive attitude. Venus is squaring Uranus. So when this happens, it's when you least expect it. It's all of a sudden. If you are married or have a long-term business partner or are living together with someone and things are not the best and they haven't been for a while, then a divorce can happen. So this is maybe what you need to leave behind. Relationships that drain you, that take you for granted, that just use you. So relationships like that, whether it's a marriage or a business partner or whatever, say goodbye. All right. So Pisces. For Pisces, for Pisces, this eclipse happens in your sixth house. So sixth house involves health, involves work, daily routines, your pets. Remember, Jupiter is here as well. So you can find a new job because Jupiter brings opportunities, right? Just don't quit your old job before you have the new one because, the economy is not doing well, right? So what are the things that you can leave behind an old job, right? Like your current job when you find another one, right? A bad health habit that you have, maybe you eat junk food, potato chips, a lot of desserts, sweets. Okay, those things you can leave behind. Now, with the eclipses here in the south node, a pet can pass. Especially if your pet is, the health isn't doing well, it's an old pet, um, they can, they can go. Um, what comes in new? Perhaps you can initiate a new healthy eating style, not to call it a diet, right? A new healthy eating style, a new exercise routine. Always, of course, consult your primary care physician for that new routine or exercise routine. Or maybe you can come up with a new routine at work or a new route to go to work. Or maybe it can save you some time in traffic, right? So this is, like I said, it's an eclipse, so it's a fated event. All right, so this is where I conclude the video. I hope this information is helpful, and I hope that only the positive side of this eclipse happens to you guys. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. And please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and send it to somebody else that it may help. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.